It is just loading. It's just about to start the live stream. Okay. Please, Shaik, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks very much. And I'd like to thank the colleagues from the SDG Impact Accelerator team and
just loading.
The colleagues who are joining. Is that okay?
Yeah, I muted. I'm sorry. It was the YouTube.
Okay. So I'd like to speak for next 20 minutes on a topic which is very close to my heart, which is digitally at different and exploring the tipping points in AgriTech space. And basically, I am a graduate, postgraduate, and a doctorate in agriculture. I'm not a digital man. So I'd like to bring the farmers and farming perspective to the digital or AgriTech space. And if you see, like for next 20 minutes or so, I'd like to spend some time on what kind of good intentions we have been working for, like what kind of benefits we can really harness from technology. And then we have been talking about digital divide, or can we translate digital divide into digital dividend? And the most importantly, our colleagues from startup ecosystem, they are trying to address the application divide. That is something which is very interesting. And in AgriTech space, and what kind of rewards you are going to gain when you try to bridge the application divide. That is something which is quite interesting. I'll also speak about Agri Food System is a different ball game. So what kind of tipping points are existing, and can we really understand those tipping points with the startup ecosystem perspective? And how best we can translate the pain points that are existing in the Agri Food System into the tipping points for our startup ecosystem. And I'll try to give a few examples from IFAD, International Fund for Agriculture Development, and few other global experiences to bring some perspective. It is not an exhaustive list. And we all know that whole is bigger than some of individuals. And we need to understand the context in which, however small our initiative endeavor may be, we are trying to fit in. And finally, like how best we can blend, envelop, and bundle the value-added services in Agri-Food System so that we can realize the tipping points. So this is in nutshell about how I'm going to spend time for next 20 minutes or so. So we all have one factor in common, which is a good intention to serve the farming community. Downtrodden, smallholder farmers, women, youth, and small and medium entrepreneurs who are in rural areas across the globe, who have been facing so many problems. I'll not dwell much on this, except for the fact that we have so many use cases in last 2 decades or so of advanced applications of digital tools in Agri-Food System. I can give one example where in which, like, if 275 to 350 million farms across the globe gain access to the mobile-based services by 2030, it is quite possible to increase the food production by 250 to 500 million more tons, and fewer tons of food loss to the extent of 20 to 65, which comes close to 3 to 6% of increase in the market value. And we all know that our focus has been how best we can enhance and improve the additional benefits or incomes to the smallholder farmers. And I am yet to see another approach apart from digital technologies, which can really fetch the additional benefits to the smallholder farmers to the extent of 100 to 200 billion US dollars. So that's why people say the AgriTech space, the AgriTech space is around $5,132 million proportion. So that's where our interventions are gaining significance. So we are not only trying to bridge the digital divide, which we have been talking about, we have been listening for last several decades, but we are now, it is high time we will focus on application divide. We all know that there is a vicious circle in Agri-Food System because there are less smallholder farmers and from remote areas, the poor farmers do not have access to the advanced digital tools. And they see that there are very limited relevant digital applications which could be applied in the field. And so they feel that these digital services are less applicable in their context. Because they don't use the digital services, there are not many organizations which are incumbent organizations, whether public sector or private sector. They did not show interest in building the value added services using digital technologies. And hence there are no like opportunities. So farmers are losing opportunities and hence low income levels. So this vicious cycle needs to be broken. So thanks to the efforts of AgriTech and fintech players, like the colleagues who are joining us today, they are in a position to come out with disruptive ideas, and wherein which value added services are being injected into this vicious circle, so that the pain points in the agri food systems and whatever farmers want are being addressed. So we need to institutionalize this kind of services. So where exactly do we stand? Like we have a cafeteria for digital solutions, pilot projects. Like it is said that in India alone, like there are 3,500 AgriTech and fintech initiatives that are rolled out in past 5-6 years. That said, like it is not the technology which is more important, it is what kind of pain point that exists at farmers level, whether in terms of production capacities, protection capacities, or in terms of financial inclusion, credit, insurance, remittances, savings, and maybe insurance, credit, and access to the markets. We all know that access to the market has been a problem for smallholder farmers, but building the high-end online marketplaces or market platforms is not going to be a solution. That's where AgriTech and fintech agencies are going to play a major role. But the idea is in the climate change and adaptation scenarios at smallholder level, there is a cafeteria, there is a need for thinking differently, and there are digital solutions which are available. But for agri-tech players, I would recommend that they should work on the pain points that are existing and reverse engineer what kind of technologies are best fit based on the context in which they are going to operate. So when you do that, when you break the vicious cycle and you try to fit in your solutions and innovations to the smallholder farmers context, there are rewards waiting not only for the farmers, not only for the agriculture stakeholders, but also to the agtech and fintech players. For example, if you focus on demand-driven, accessible, affordable, and applicable digital services, which are bundled based on the needs in a time sequence manner, so it is quite possible that you are going to realize the multiplier effect, either in terms of improved productivity or income levels. For example, there are multiple studies which are conducted which have proven empirically that the productive capacities and climate resilience digital services are capable of enhancing and sustaining the productivity to the extent of 23% and income levels to the 30%, whereas market access, the innovative financial inclusion are capable of improving the income levels of smallholder farmers to the extent of 18% to 37%. The sky is the limit. The point is, are we ready to trickle down the effects and reach out to that point of inflection wherein which your efforts are reaching the tipping point. So we all know the concept of tipping point, which was put forth by Malcolm Gladwell. So we are all working on different digital solutions, innovations, and trying to solve so many problems. Our solutions are becoming part of the movement wherein which the critical mass and threshold and boiling point we have reached, so that we are garnering the support of partnerships, but also harnessing the digital solutions to suit to the requirements of smallholder farmers. For example, where are those tipping points? We all know this ecosystem of startup ecosystem, wherein which there is milestones, funding, dilution, and I'm not dwelling much on this because of want of time. But where are those tipping points? Tipping points do exist not in the business plans and the way we are operating our startups, but in the way we are understanding the farmers, smallholder farmers' needs, and focusing on one specific pain point at a time. I'll try to give few beautiful examples in due course, where in which you can really play an important role, either in logistic or with working capital or supply chain on one hand, and convenience, bringing convenience and brand at farmers' end. And solving multiple problems will come in a phased manner. It may not be handled by you alone, but you may require to partner with so many incumbent organizations. That is something which is a missing point that we need to really take into consideration. I was mentioning about we are all playing an important role in the AgriTech space, but the point is how best we fit into the overall ecosystem. We all know about the Gestalt's theory, wherein which a whole is bigger than sum of individuals. So is our digital solution, or a combination of digital innovations which we are putting forth, are fitting into the overall ecosystem of Agri Food System within the context of smallholder farmer in terms of productive capacities or financial inclusion and climate resilience. We have a cafeteria of possibilities to explore, and a combination of partnerships that are available at grassroots level, and a plethora of the information and service needs which are time critical and mission critical. And if you can pull all these things together, and I don't see why there should not be a much value added proposition at every step which our AgriTech players are going to undertake. That said, maybe I'd like to take you around some of the most prominent digital applications which IFAD and global organizations are trying to do. It's not very new, but I wanted to contextualize. So how even the bigger players are into digital, not focusing exclusively on the digital technologies and how well they speak high-end technologies, but even the basic USSD feature codes are contributing to improved income levels of smallholder farmers, or empowerment of women and youth in rural areas. For example, like IFAD, we have tens of digital projects which are currently being operated across more than 100 countries. We have tried out right from USSD SMS services to advanced blockchain technologies, either in traceability of the food produce, or for UN designated areas, the branding and creating the logo of UN, so that the food that is being produced in the heritage sites which are recognized by UN will fetch more than 32% of net income at farmers level. Advanced blockchain technologies were also used in remittances of agri laborers who are working in Malaysia, from Pakistan and Bangladesh. The idea is whether it is farm radio or blockchain, artificial intelligence for recognizing late blight of potato in Bangladesh, and you name any context, there is a possibility to integrate the digital technologies. But the incumbent organizations and bigger players in agri food technology, food tech space, they are not focusing exactly on the technologies, but they are focusing on the pain point which they are trying to address. So the moment you are trying to address a variety of pain points that exist in the agri food system, all of a sudden you will realize that based on the need and context, you are trying out a cafeteria for digital tools, whether it is in the dairy sector, automated milk collection centers, or monitoring of livestock using RFIDs, or digital ledger, distributed ledger technologies, or geospatial technologies for targeting your interventions, or simple IVRS solutions, or as I was mentioning, artificial intelligence and sensors, like storage sensors for improving the income levels of women farmers in Uluguru project. The idea is you don't focus on digital tools, The moment you are focusing on the pain points and trying to address with the digital strategies, all of a sudden you will realize that you are already into making use of a variety of digital technologies. The global experiences, like I happen to analyze in last 2 decades or so, thousands of digital projects that were operated across the globe. And we came to conclusion that when you focus on in financial inclusion or market access to the markets, or the inclusion of women and youth, or maybe improving the production capacities, you name any single point in a value chain and supply chain, you will get at least 10 or 15 use cases wherein which different organizations have already deployed the digital tools. Can you really import this kind of projects to suit to the areas where you are operating? May not necessarily be, but the insights developed from this kind of digital projects, whether they are coming from public sector, private sector, or agri-tech, fintech agencies, or startup ecosystems, the insights developed and lessons drawn will be helpful for all of you to really capture the right, to strike the right note and capture the right momentum. And I happen to analyze around 850 like AgriTech, like way back in 2018. I don't want you people to really go into the details of what kind of findings we came out with, but the sense, right from predictive analytics, precision agriculture, to market access, to aggregation for market platforms, or knowledge and advisory transfers, and access to the inputs. And aggregation is something which is coming up in a big way at every step in the value chain. And financial inclusion and simple networking could be like a value added proposition, and unique ID enabled services. You name any digital service which can make a difference in the lives of smallholder farmers. The agri-tech players across the globe are already trying to address those pain points. Yeah, this is the analysis. When you see in pre-production, whether it is crop expenditure tool, or advising the farmers on farming mix, or farmer franchises using farmers producers organizations are being modernized. And you name smart devices for agriculture, simple soil testing, advanced digital tools for real-time soil testing, or credit linkages, machinery rental, Uberization in agri machineries. We have so many agri startup ideas that are being tried out. But for you, I would like to suggest to question yourself, what pain points you would like to have you really understood well in the agri food tech system, and what kind of digital solutions are you going to offer different to the incumbent organizations, and different to already existing agri-tech players or startup players. And what disruptive business model do you have? You just keep thinking, whether it is in pre-production or production and post-production and post-harvest and marketing. You need to think big, understanding the overall ecosystem, but execute small, so that you are addressing one issue at a time. So when we were analyzing 52 agri-tech players way back in 2017-18, we understood that the aggregation was not a real focus at that time. But down the line, 2 or 3 years from then, now most of the people from platforms, they have moved towards a better aggregation players. So metrics matter. You just try to understand the numbers, and at the same time, don't only focus on the numbers, and the potential to which your idea can reach is better than the numbers. So there is a paradox. So another idea I would like to put forth is completely you go data driven. It is very easy to speak about data-driven agriculture, but understand the prospects that can bring that the data-driven agri food system can bring to the agri-tech players. We all know that data is oil, very, very valuable, and data is also water. It is reusable. So in both the context, if you can really harness, understand and harness what are those localized data which can really bring lot of revenue to agri-tech players, or imported data or exported data from the farm and ancillary data, the sky is the limit. Like we try to analyze a few digital startups which try to like focus on this kind of data ecosystem, but for want of time, like I'd like to share this presentation, and lots of like blogs written by, authored by me, are already available online. I'd like to ask all our collaborators and like partners to go through them at least once, so that you will understand the benefits the data driven like agri food system perspective can bring. And now, like if you have really understood the pain points in the agri food system, you will start working towards like translating them into the tipping points. You see, like as I was mentioning, like right from farmers engagement platforms at lowest level to aggregation to the personalized agri services and time critical services and door delivery and backward integration, and forecasting the products and like quality, and e-trading well in advance, and like local hiring services using Uber models, or warehouse receipts, wherein which you can really start thinking about USSD text codes to advanced like mobile applications and e-vouchers and mobile vouchers, and seed production programs. And you can envision what kind of agri food system is existing in your own area of jurisdiction, focus jurisdiction, and what kind of technologies, right from simple technologies to the full stack platform. You may not be like planning to build a full stack platform on your own, but down the line, 2 or 3 years from now, if there is going to be a full stack platform with the operators coming from different agri tech and like incumbent organizations and many other like crop insurance, food companies and farmer credit providers, you have that vision and you strive to like fit into that kind of full stack digital platforms right from the beginning itself, so that your startups and your ventures will remain sustainable and relevant to the full stack platform which we are trying to address. And I'll not get into the details, but I wanted to bring you to the sense of how to envision where exactly do you stand, so that you will be part of a complementary system, bigger complementary system for agri food system, than thinking that we are like our solutions are panacea for all the smallholder farmers problems. For example, you may be like having in your countries, whether it in Uganda or in Bangladesh, you may be having national markets. So national agriculture market platforms are coming up in a big way across the developing countries. But what is that as a startup player or AgTech agency, which you can really think of is like the platforms at nation level, region level, cluster level are not going to solve the problems of smallholder farmers. Can your digital solution focus either on location-based monitoring or pooling of retailers, aggregation of demand, or aggregation of the produce in terms of quantity required or quality required, and thinking about like aggregation and delivery to the traders and the payment gateways. So you name any single pain point that exists to make the national agriculture markets of Uganda or Bangladesh into a Amazon kind of ecosystem, you have struck the right note. Either it is in service platforms or unique identification enabled services, fertilizer distribution system in India, it was tried out, or input supply stack or market stack. So you try to focus on multipliers and levers. Either the multipliers, you are trying to increase the revenue reach and coverage of farmers at individual level, cluster level, and regional level. And you are also focusing on the levers, wherein which you are trying to reduce the cost of production, either by using the drones or by working on the precision agriculture tools, and you name, like how well you can really match your multipliers and levers, which are your core strength, to suit to the smallholder farmers context, is going to play an important role. So I in my 2 decades of experience in AgriTech space, I can really say that prioritizing, understanding farmers services on real-time basis is going to play an important role, and the technology will follow the suit. It is not other way around. And you need to understand that it is not a simple technology, single technology which you are coming out with is going to play an important role. You need to work on a combination of technologies. For example, in case of land selection, it is not only like GIS maps or maybe decision support system, decision support tools which are going to make a difference, but you may also focus on like high impact digital extension services, or maybe precision agriculture tools, and many like my smart soil testing, and so many other things. This diagram I wanted to showcase. Why? Because we need to understand that what kind of combination of technologies are coming from us and coming from other complementary players in that particular region, so that we can really work on the synergies. While doing that, you will really understand over a period of 2 seasons or 3 seasons, you are not only blending your digital solutions into the context, you are also enveloping your digital solutions along with the ongoing, whether digital or non-digital activities, which will benefit the smallholder farmers, so that at the farmers level, you are thinking about the bundled value added services. And this, you don't expect that when we venture into a particular region with our digital innovation, everything is going to happen overnight. But the thing is, right combination of the complementary services and the partnerships will really benefit you to envelop your services with other value added services. As I was mentioning in my 3rd slide or 4th slide, the moment you are striking the value added services and bringing the value added services in a bundled way to the doorsteps of smallholder farmers, that is the time when you can really think that your business has reached out to the tipping point stage. Similarly, in case of Latin American countries fintech ecology, and they try to bring in right from platforms linking buyers to sellers over a period of time. They try to envelop and bundle and blend, envelop and bundle the value added services in fintech space using platforms, marketing, payments, logistics, and quality control, packaging, and warehousing. You see, we are not going to address all the pain points that are existing in Agri Food System, but why not think about what kind of possible synergies we can really contribute to? In that context, I'm very glad to understand that the SDG Impact Accelerator program has identified around 10 or 12 agri-tech and fintech players, and whom I'm going to hear soon. And I'll be very happy to see how well these startups or agtech or fintech agencies are going to fit well into the overall agri-food system or agtech space, so that you are not going to provide only a specific digital service on real-time basis, but you are evolving a bundled value-added service ecosystem at the smallholder farmers level, or at women's level, or youth or SME level. And with that, I'd like to propose that maybe it would be good if you have, even though it may sound very academic, but I really call upon our agtech players to really think in terms of theory of change. How little interventions of our agencies or our startups are going to make a difference in the livelihoods of our lives of millions of smallholder farmers, so that in the overall digital transformation, you are bringing farmer centrality and you are making farmer to sit in the driver's seat. So for that, you need to have a clarity where exactly is your digital activity, and in the impact pathways, where exactly it stands. And for that, I'd like to draw upon the digital principles, which are very contextualized to Agri Food System. And the single most point which I'd like to highlight from this is design with the farmer. Yes, sitting with a farmer, interacting with the farmer can give numerous opportunities, and you will get you will not get from numbers of thousands of hours of academic lectures. Sit with the farmer, design with the farmer, and come out with a solution which makes a difference in the lives of thousands or millions of smallholder farmers. So with that, I'd like to bring you to the conclusion. We all have good intentions, and we all appreciate what kind of benefits and dividends can be drawn from the technology. And we know that by addressing the application divide, which is the primary focus of agtech and fintech players, we can really translate the digital divide that exists at smallholder farmers level into the digital dividends. And we need to understand where exactly we stand in the AgriTech space, not only in the AgriTech space, but also in the Agri Food System, where we are going to operate, we are operating. And we need to understand the pain points in the Agri Food System. And this is not yet another a ball game. This is quite importantly, this is a different ball game, wherein which agriculture varies from village to village, site to site, region to region, and farmer to farmer, a socioeconomic, one specific socioeconomic background to another. And if you can really understood one pain point which you wanted to address, and the sky is the limit, and there is money at every link that exists in the value chain, and with a win-win proposition, not only you will gain some profits, but also you will help the farmers to help themselves. And we need to really understand the whole is bigger than the sum of individuals. And the more we try to understand this, more we try to fit into the Agri Food System with the partnerships, the more we do, the more we gain with the synergies. And the bottom line is, you try to blend, envelope, and bundle your services, and let us not focus only on our digital solutions, and let us not hope that our digital solutions alone are going to make a difference in the lives of millions of smallholder farmers.